Well, we need to welcome you to another lovely edition of Ladies Corner right here on Heroes TV. You do know Ladies Corner with no other but Reverend Mrs. Omome Enahireri. It's a program that deals with the fundamental. And when I mean fundamental, we're talking about issues that concerns our better half, if you know what I mean. And I'm talking about the ladies. How well should they behave as it concerns not just marriage, but also finance, family, and the larger society? And that's what we always enjoy doing on Ladies Corner. I'll need to welcome you. My name is Michael Obadirbe. It's still Ladies Corner with no other but Reverend Mrs. Omome Enahireri. You do know she's the mayor of the Hero City right here in Ugeli. And you would also understand that she's also, when I say, the lead bearer of the issues that concerns women in this great ministry. And I need to say, welcome to it. Reverend Mrs. Omome, welcome, ma. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
I would really want to say, I know how busy you are, but talking about women is something that is more like a passion in you. You're busy now at the moment, but you needed to come, especially as it concerns women, and I'm really appreciative of it.
Thank you
so
very
much. Well, anyway, like I said, we'll be talking today. We really need to talk about the responsibility of a woman to her home. And when I mean the home, we're talking about not just her husband and the children, but what revolves around her and how much she needs to be responsible. You totally agree with me that in recent time we've had serious domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the time, if you pry deep, most of the men keep complaining that she doesn't know her responsibility.
Yeah,
so let's look at the issues that surrounds that and try to see if we can really carve out a way or carve out a path that a woman should take in dealing with the issues of responsibility in her home. So I just want a quick one. Let's start now. What are some of the major responsibility a woman has to her home?
Thank you very much. I would like to first and foremost say that every woman must know that, especially if you're married, even for the single ladies, while you're waiting for a partner, it's a time to be schooled. It's a time for you to grab every knowledge that you can about what you will get involved in later, which is marriage. And for those who are already married, your responsibility is, I cannot quantify it or define it with a word and say, this is your responsibility, because different folks, different strokes, they say. When you get married, your particular situation may not be the same with another person. So the level of your responsibility may not be the same with what another person. But you must have at the back of your mind that as I'm embarking on this journey, necessity lays it on me that I have work to do. Once you settle that at the back of your mind, when the work starts coming, you're prepared. So every woman must know, number one, that God gives us the opportunity to come into the life of a man, not just for the fun part of it, but for the work part of it also. Remember in the Garden of Eden, after God had made the garden, he put Adam and Eve there to tend it and to take care of it. He didn't say, I've done everything, but just go and enjoy. So once you have tied your life to another person, work begins. And some of those work will be, number one, you must be like a spiritual pillar for your home. You must be the gatekeeper of your home. Spiritually, yes. A gatekeeper is somebody who tends the gate. She knows who comes in, who goes out. And sometimes it's who the gatekeeper allows in that comes in. If she says no, you can't come in. So you must know that you're the gatekeeper of your home. Secondly, you must know that now a grown-up baby is put in your hands. Your husband. He needs to be cared for. He needs to be taken care of before the children start to come. That's why I always advise young couples when they get married, wait like 6 months, 7, 8 months before pregnancy comes in, because you need that time to bond, to take care of one another, to establish, that relationship before the children. Because once the children come in, they put a bit of gap between you and your spouse. So number 2 is you after she's the gatekeeper, she must know that her husband is the next thing that she must take care of before she starts taking care of the wife.
So more like a priority.
Yes.
Okay.
Understanding that God has given you an assignment that you must carry out. Number 2, understanding that now another person is put on your lap to take care of
Okay.
your husband before the kids.
Okay. Starts coming in.
Yes.
Now, you just said it, and I'm really, really curious to know. And my curiosity is all about the many talk we've been hearing. Is that my responsibility to him? Should I do this as a responsibility? So I'm really curious to know, in your own personal view, what should be a woman's responsibility to her husband?
Your number one responsibility as a woman is to pray for your husband.
Okay.
You must do that every day. Call his name before God.
Okay.
You must do that because whatever you're praying for, because God is a prayer answering God, you will start to see the things that you want in that person. I tell people, if it is too small to pray about, it is too small to complain about. So if you're not going to pray about it, don't complain about it. So even if you see some small things in his life that you don't like, pray about it. So your number one responsibility is to pray for him. Number two, give him wise counsel, godly counsel. Don't lord over him your counsels. Don't lord over him your opinions, but chip them in a submissive and humble way. But let your voice constantly ring those positive counsels to him. Because the Bible says great men are not always wise. It doesn't matter if he's bearing one huge title or the other. They make mistakes. That's why he's a man. It's not a God. So give wise counsel. Pray over him, give wise counsel, and of course, make sure he's taken care of physically. Food-wise, bedroom activities, make sure you do that. Because if you don't, whatever a person lacks, they look for. If you are fed with jollof rice every day, when you go out to see jollof rice, you don't even want to touch it.
Of course, most certainly. Yeah.
But if you're starved of it, you'll be dreaming about it. And so the slight chance you get at getting it, you go for it. So make sure he eats well, he eats healthy, take care of him, satisfy him sexually, and then sometimes even dress him up nice. Be the one to say, oh my God, this thing doesn't blend. Oh, can you just, oh, this one has a stick. Some women don't care. That's the truth. They'll say, it's him that no, whatever I want to wear, let him wear. No. When I see a man outside, if there is anything wrong with how he looks, the first person I think about is the wife. It means that she's not doing her job. I know some men are stubborn. They'll say, that's the way I want it. But that's where prayer comes in. The Bible says that the heart of the king is in the hand of the Lord. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So if you want to see a well-packaged man, it's your job as a woman
to ensure that.
Yeah. It's a job.
Okay. Well, you just talked about her responsibility to a man, and I know many men will be enjoying this, especially as it concerns feeding, bed, and they might not like the clothing issue, but anyway, let's leave that. Because many men will always think to their God, I want to wear my cap. And
but some men will tell their wife, what do I wear?
Oh, yeah.
I know men like that. So
really,
what do I wear?
Yeah,
should I wear this? Should I, So,
and it does compliment, just like you said. But let's now come to the other major issue. And we're talking about the home itself. Let's talk about the children. Because after the man, which is the first baby, the real babies start coming in. Now, let's look at her responsibility to her children. When we were growing up, or before now, we used to know that women do not work. They're always at home. And the reason they're at home is to take care of the children, which we do know. So that has always been in the back of everybody's mind as it concerns the responsibility of a woman. So let's really break that responsibility as it concerns the children.
Okay. Once the children start to come in, it's for the husband and the wife to sit down and say, okay, what do we do? These days, back then life was a bit easier. With 1/10 of what a man earns now, if he earns it back then, he can do a lot.
Yes, most certainly.
But now you earn 10 times that and it's still not enough. Yes. So the idea of your wife being a full-time housewife, that is being eroded gradually because they need to make ends meet. And I'm somebody who advocates for multiple streams of income.
Most certainly.
I do not believe that, it's the man's salary, that's what we'll live on. No. Multiple streams of income helps the home. So these days, you see that women have to go out there and do something. They have to work. But every woman should know that her children, if it is well with them, it will be well with her and her husband. And if it is not, of course, the reverse will be the case. Come back. So after her husband, the next people on that her list of priority would be the children. She has to take care of them. If there is a way she can manage and say, okay, let my husband be doing, especially when the kids are young, because this is even a danger to leave your children to house helps.
Most
It's now like
tales of
it's no longer something that it used to be palatable. You know, we could do it, but now you can't even leave your child for your neighbor these days.
Talk less of
a stranger. So if they can balance up and say, okay, let's manage for now. While you do the work, let me hold the kids until they reach the age where, you know, they can tend for themselves and do one or two things, then I can go get something to do. Or on the other hand, while taking care of the kids, she can start a small scale business that will not demand all of her time. So that she can still have time for the children. I have a sister who, once her kids close from work, her business closes for the day. Once they close from school, her business closes for the day. She shuts her shop, she takes her kids home, and that is it. She said, these children right now, they control my time. So if you can do that, that will help you.
That's fashion out your life according to the details of the children.
That's it. If they are still like in the nursery, primary, you just need to give them that time. Because once you miss that time in children's life, you're not going to be able to put anything in there again.
Okay, now, you've just broken down the issue of responsibility to our husband, responsibility to your children. And I feel the only natural question, the next nice question to ask is, what happens if all of these responsibilities are not met? She fails on that. Let's look at the overall impact that will have on family itself.
I don't think we need to go very far to see that because it's written all over everywhere now. We're having a whole lot more divorces than we used to. I mean, like, divorce used to be like a very, very far
taboo.
Like you don't even hear of it. Like you're getting into marriage, you know that this is it. Yes. It was foreign to us, but now it's dwelling with us. It's everywhere. Even in churches, it's everywhere. And you know, people are getting comfortable with it. But you know, the problem of divorce starts from the failure of all of these responsibilities. When a woman doesn't understand that, number one, her home should be built on God as their foundation, failure has started. Number two, when she doesn't give her responsibility 100% to her husband, failure has started. For instance, you don't take care of your husband. You don't care about what he eats. I know some homes where it's the house who cooks for the man. The day the wife will cook, the food will look different. You know, the man will be like, yeah. Maybe for God's sake, he will not want to say it, but in his heart, something is there. And so, if you are leaving your husband's food to your house help or to anybody who's around, just help me fix something for him, you failed. Your husband should be able to eat your food. When he goes out, he should know that I ate something outside, but what I eat inside is different. That's for food. Let's talk about generally care. You should care for your husband. You should know how he's doing. Some women, the day their husband travels, the next time they talk to him is the day he returns. That's not right. Thank God for GSM. You can call your husband. How are you doing? How is today? Send text messages. Just checking on you. That keeps the oil of marriage flowing. The man knows that, oh, there's somebody there. Doesn't matter what they do to me in the office. When I get home, there's somebody to crew me and calm me down. But you know, it's running from the office where there's war. He comes in and he meets a third world war. Before you know it, distance is coming in. Then, of course, sexually, satisfy your husband. Someone says, is it food? For a man, it is food. Make sure he's well taken care of in there, because if you don't, there are many people out there who are ready to give it free. And those things have led to divorces and failures in marriages.
And the issue of baby mamas. Yeah.
The issue of
baby mamas.
Oh, of course. They're there. They're ready to just...
Okay, now, let's look at the children now. You've just talked a great deal about the impact of a woman's failure as it concerns her husband. Now, would it be right to say this, that sometimes when a child fails, it's always quickly attributed to the mother rather than the father? So let's look at that.
Well, in that area,
why is that narrative there? And do you feel a lack of showing that responsibility from a woman always bring this narrative?
I would want to say that it's a 50-50 thing. You know why I'm saying that? Because yes, children spend more time with their mothers. So she has the atmosphere to impact them more than the father, you know. But again, I would say raising children is not just the responsibility of the wife. I agree that yes, they spend more time with her, but the father's input is very, very
Also
important.
matters.
Because I've seen children who would say no to their mother, but once they look at their father's face, they do what
They
they
behave.
want to do. So it's a balanced thing. If, for instance, I'm trying to discipline a child, and the father, instead of supporting my discipline, starts to say counter, goes counter, I mean, we're already ruining the life of that child. But if the child knows that if my mommy says this, and if I go to my daddy, it's going to be stronger, he will obey once he hears any instruction. So I think it's a 50-50 thing. It's not completely to be blamed on the mother. The father has a role to play too.
Okay, now let's look at even the whole narrative. I'm happy you brought something about the rate of divorce. And if you look at most homes at the moment, we have single parents. When I mean single parents, I'm not just talking of just single mothers. We won't have home where the father is the one doing everything. Yeah. The mother has walked away from the marriage. Now let's look at that. Would you say it's even one of the reasons we're having a high rate of crime, social misfits, social breakdown in the country and even around the world itself? And do you see these being corrected if both, because you said both are needed to help amend and also keep a balanced structure. Yes. So do you feel that's why we are where we are now? And can that fabric, can that narrative be changed if we have both partners in a marriage?
I would want to say yes, because I have seen some children who have gone contrary to what society expects. And, you know, when you sit them down and talk sometimes, where it starts from is from the fact that they didn't have either a mother's voice or a father's authority over them. That's where it starts. And so they grow up and then, okay, this life is thrown me this way. Let me just take it the way it's thrown in. And then they start to do different things. Like you have all these youths now who scam people and, you know, they call them Yahoo and quote and all of that. I mean, when that starts, if a mother and a father have their eyes on their kids, you will know something is going wrong.
So even if the father misses it, the mother will.
The mother shouldn't. You see your child come home with something you didn't buy for him or her, you should query it. I know a father who burns his daughter's clothes. I don't like this. I didn't buy this. Take it off. And he sets it on fire. And those guys today, you need to see them. But you know, if he turned the other way when he saw it, of course, wherever that thing is coming from, will continue. And before you know, the grows taproot in it, it's hard for you to separate them from it. So when you see your sons dressing in a certain way, behaving in a certain way, both of you as parents should sit them down and talk to them. If you don't, what we're saying in society today, in fact, if we don't start now, it will come to a time where in the society, you can't even move on the streets. Because it's graduating every day from one level to another. If they had told Nigerians some years back that, you know, our youth will start to use people for rituals because of money, it would have been like, oh, how can that ever happen? But here it is. So if we don't start tackling some of these things as families, as parents, this is what we're going to give to the society.
Well, anyway, we'll give them more as it concerns the discussion. But we'll go on a quick break now. And when we come back, we'll talk more as it concerns a woman's responsibilities of our home. And not just that, but how can that really be brought to be and also to bear, especially with these difficult times? And what do you mean by difficult time, especially during this period, we're having more mothers away from home, not on their own account, but just to support the home. Let's quickly come back. And yes, we talked a great deal. You talked a great deal about our responsibility. And like I said in one of my initial questions, we used to know that the woman places the home. But all of that narrative have changed. Now, let's look at how she can help financially. It will be out of place and a show of dishonesty if we do not say many women are contributing a lot to the upkeep of the home at the moment, which was not like that 2-3 decades ago, which is true. But my question is, I'll ask you two quick but very important questions. Should there be a measure of support? Should we measure the support the woman should contribute to her husband? Should we measure the support that she should contribute to the home financially? That's my first question. And my second question is, can she really balance it? Honestly, can she balance it? balance taking care of the home, balance working, creating more for the family? I'm just a bit curious.
Okay.
Let's understand.
Okay, so let's look at the first one. Should she support financially?
And what measure?
100% yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I have seen cases where the woman earns more than the man. It would be wrong for such a woman to say, because my husband is the head of the home and supposed to be the breadwinner of the home, we will live on what he earns while I keep my own earning. That's not even scriptural. You understand? When you come into the union of marriage, you said to be there for one another, to support, to do all of that. That's the number one test. So I do not think that if you have, even if you don't earn as much as it earns, but you have a means of income, part of your income should come into the home. I mean, who are you working for? Who are you working for? Your children, most times. So you don't leave the responsibility of that for the man alone. You must bring in your own. There are times you'll be like, oh, I wish we could do this. I don't have. Just should come into agreement. But if you leave it at that, and then, the children are not looking the way they should because everybody is depending on one source of income or on the man's income, it's not right. You're failing God, you're failing society, and of course, you're failing your children. You're failing the home.
But some women will complain that, okay, yeah, we do know they need to support, but sometimes it makes the men lazy.
Well, it depends on that man. Okay. It depends on that man. But even if it makes the men lazy, that should not stop you from taking care of your home. That's your home. You don't have another. That's your home. I know women who cover up for their husbands. You would even think that it's the man doing everything. They have so understood that, this is my responsibility. When I got married, like my pastor will always say, marriage is like a package. It's all wrapped beautiful and everything. When you open it, you see different things inside. So that's what life has pushed towards you. Take it and make the best of it. Cover your husband. The Bible says a wise woman builds her home. She doesn't expose her home. She doesn't let anybody know, I'm the one doing this, I'm the one paying the children's school fees, I'm the one. You don't need to let anybody know that. When they see the glory of the children, they see it on your husband and they see it on you. So there is nothing wrong. Every woman should support financially in every way that they can.
Okay, ma, how does she strike a balance? Go to work, come back tired, go into the kitchen, cook, and at the end, maybe in the night, she still has to do her responsibility, ensure the children are being kept well, look at what they are doing. Man, I can't go on and on.
This is where I talk to men. Gone are the days where, a man will go to work, they'll come back from work, they'll go and sit down and be watching TV, and the wife is the one. I know that women are gifted. Women are the only beings that I think that their brains can be multitasked. The woman can be washing clothes, she's cooking, she has her eye on the pot, she's keeping her eye on the child. But the man doesn't have the ability to be multitasked when it comes to domestic things. The minute he hears one scream from a child, it destabilizes him. But a woman can take 10 screams and still be going. That's why somebody was talking, he said, I got to a point, I started to ask myself, are we not being unfair? For instance, we go to church, we all come back from church, everybody is tired. And I'm sitting at the table waiting for food. From the same person who went to church with me. I finish eating, I can go and sleep. But she has to think of the children. Oh, evening food, what would they eat in the evening? She has to. So men should come to that realization and understand that, yes, most of these things are what the woman should be doing, but their support is very important. Very, very important. There must be something you can do as a man. Maybe that time she's cooking, if the child is still small, you can be rocking the child, playing with the child to give her some breathing space. And then there are some men who I am so grateful to God for. They'll tell the wife, go and sleep. I'll take care of this. I'll do this. I'll do this. But like you said, some men become lazy. I've married you. You have to do this. You have to do that. You're not a real man. You're not a real man.
But let me ask you another major question, because whether you say it is well or not, it all boils down to how a woman is being raised. Yeah. That will give birth to her being a responsible
wife and mother.
And to her mother. Now, there's this new talk And I'll just lay it on the table without cutting the edges.
Gen Z.
That we now have women that are women, but not mothers or wives, running the streets, roaming the streets around. And these are the reasons many men end up marrying these women, and just after a year or less than, divorce comes in. Because these women or these girls per se do not know what it means to take care of a home. And if you now trace it back to where it's from, is the failure of the mothers not putting that discipline, not raising them up like girls. I grew up in a house, if my sister does not sit well, my mother cautions her as early as 2. That's where a woman starts doing it. But now we have weak girls that might even dress half naked, and the mother turns a blind eye. So let's look at this. How important is it that we now change the narrative? We're already here, and it's quite sad, just like you said. But how important is it that we change the narrative? And would you put most of these new birth women per se as a result of the failures of the mothers not really putting their feet down also?
Yes, I would want to say that to a large extent, yes. You know, the word they use for it now, all of these things you said, is the Gen Z.
Gen Z, thank you.
This generation of people or of children who think that, you know, the world is theirs.
Yes.
I believe that every mother out there with this trend of whatever it is, this Gen Z trend going on, need to wake up. You need to wake up. You know the popular adage, it's when a fish is still fresh that you can bend it. Once it's dry, you try to bend it, you break it. So if you see your daughter getting into vices that you know are not right, do not turn a blind eye. Speak up. From age, whatever she can understand, start to make her know that this is life, this is the way it should be done, this is the right thing to do. Just start. Don't, you know, some people over pamper their children and then there's, oh, she's just a child, she's just, no.
She'll grow up.
But you'll be shocked that as she's growing up, she already thinks that that's the way it should be. I see some mothers, their children will use clothes, heap and heap of dirty clothes in the house. And, you know, it's her clothes. No. Can I shock you? When my daughters were still with us in the house, I refused to buy the washing machine in the house. Not because we couldn't afford, we can afford as many as we want. But I just said no. Because I do not know if the man she's going to marry will be able to buy a washing machine. What if he's not able to buy a washing machine? Then she's not going to wash his clothes or wash her clothes. Oh, in my house, my father's house, is washing machine I used to use. Until they left, and then we have more than one in the house. Now, they come home, they now say, oh, okay, there's washing machine, but they have already known that will make them survive anyway. But when you, in the name of, you know, the means is there, you bring in house help. House help with cook, house help with wash, house help with do this. Your children will eat and drop plates in the sink and not take care of them, and you will not care. My mother brought up me and my siblings to the point where my brothers can cook. She will send them to the market and say, go to this corner. There's a woman selling vegetable there. Go to this corner. This. By the time they are done, they've bought a range. She say, take it home and cook. And they'll be like, why should I? If you don't cook, we will not eat. And so all my brothers cook. So if my brothers can cook, then what do you think about the girls? So it's still the responsibility of parents. Whatever we're saying in the society today is because parents failed backwards. They failed. Your children are living lives that you know that it's like what you see everywhere now. Young boys buying cars and you know, you look at this child, he's not doing anything. And then you as a parent, you will not be rejoicing. My son just bought the car. What did he do to get the car? What did he do? And if you don't question it, whatever he did, it may rub off on you someday. So I still think that mothers, fathers, they need to put their feet down. They need to open their eyes. The earlier they start, the better for the society. We've already made mistakes like 3 decades back. We've made mistakes.
That's what we're reaping.
That's what we're reaping. But if we do not correct it now, it will be worse. A young man came out the other day, called the mother to say, begging the mother, please, what he did. He said if he does not sleep with the mother, that, he will die and everything. How can a young man open his mouth to beg his mother to sleep with his mother? That's how far we have gone. So parents need to wake up. Seriously, they need to wake up. You see your son wear something you don't like, you're not leaving the house today. You see your daughter, you're cooking in the kitchen, your daughter is on her phone.
Pressing phone.
What for? When you're supposed to sit down at the mother and say, put this. In 2 minutes time, you put this.
That's how it used to be.
So, if such a girl does that at home, tell me why she will not cook well in her husband's house. She will. Well, these days, some Sundays, you will just see families, all of them, they'll pack, they'll go to fast food and burn money and eat.
Okay, man. Well, anyway, it's interesting. And if we continue like this, it might just take the whole day. But we'll need to let you go. But before that, I want us to bring us back to our basics. And the basis is the church. We've talked about the physical input. Let's now come to the spiritual input, which is also very vital in bringing up any home. Now, you talk about the woman praying for her husband. Seeing some traits or character or attitude, and as much as you talk, but take prayer to support it, all round progress of the home. Forgive me for saying this. I'm from a tribe that when the man doesn't progress, we say oil is not on the woman's head. We blame the woman for it. And many tribes in Nigeria do that, whether you like it or not. The blame factor goes directly to the woman first. So let's look at why it's important that the woman should take the lead spiritually as it concerns the well-being of the home.
Well,
because these days we see most women. Funny enough, I've seen 3 men. They are in church, but the wives don't often go to church. And she said she's tired. She traded late last night. So let's look at that.
I think every woman needs to understand that when God hears our voices, there is a way God acts than when He hears the voices of men. I do not know why that is like that, but in all honesty, that's what it is. That's just the way I feel. When God hears the voices of women. And I have come to realize that it's not just the Almighty God, even deities. When women come together to say, we want to do this, the response is very, very rapid. So every woman should understand that you are the atmosphere controller of your home. And you can only do that when you are a spiritually balanced woman. When you are a spiritually balanced woman, you must put that at the back of your mind. And praying over your home, praying over your husband, praying over your children goes beyond you come to church and you pray that prayer. You must have a prayer altar where you mention their names to God. That way, like I said earlier, when you pray about things, you will start to see what you desire about those things. Because God is a prayer answering God. He turns the heart of the king whithersoever will. So anyhow you want your husband to behave, start praying that over him. Pray it over your children. And once you start to do that, you will just start seeing what you have prayed about come to pass. Because God answers prayers. So when you do not pray, you leave them, you expose them to the enemy. And then they start to exhibit things that the enemy wants, not what you want, not what God wants. Prayer is the key. So you must have your own prayer altar as a woman. That must always be hot, not cold. Where you shaping your home. That is why I said the woman is the gatekeeper of the home. It is what she allows in that comes in. If a gate man does not open the gate for you, you cannot come in.
Intruders don't come.
So that's what it is. Spiritually, she should be in charge. Her antenna spiritually should be on the alert always. That way she can mold her children into what she wants. Whenever words are powerful, what you speak into them. Instead of her busy, you see some parents, you are stupid, you are this. Those are the things that come out from their mouth. That's what you're shaping your child. But instead of abusing your children, speak words over their lives. Words of God, words that will shaping them to be better people in the society. You will see it.
Well, anyway, well said, man. We need to really thank you. This has been a very, very educative,
Thank you.
interesting, and well, anyway, we needed to be direct. That's how I feel we
Yeah.
can make an impact.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for doing all of that.
Thank
We
you very
truly
much.
appreciate your time with us. And I'm talking of no other person but the mayor of the Heroes of Faith City. I was talking of no other person but Reverend Mrs. Omome Nakiberi. Thank you for coming through. We really appreciate your time
Thank you
with us.
very much.
Well, anyway, for me, it's a wrap. But before we go, we'll always advise you to share, comment, and like all you see, especially as it concerns Ladies Corner on Heroes TV. And you do know on Facebook, Instagram, and come on. You can also watch the complete edition on YouTube. We'll be dropping that very soon. And you will indeed enjoy yourself to learn a lot as it concerns a woman's responsibility to her home.